How are you supposed to do a diet if you don't know what to eat? I'm going to show you why keto works in the most simple way possible. By the end of this video, you're going to know how to choose the right foods without needing a food list. And spoiler alert, it's based on why keto works. So let's start there. Keto works because your body has a natural ability to use both sugar and fat for fuel. It does this regardless of the type of diet you do. So, standard American diet, standard Canadian diet, you are actually burning fat for fuel. However, the foods you eat determine which of the two energy sources is the priority. When we are born, our body is using fat as its primary fuel source. Sugar, it's the secondary.
You can take a newborn baby and the baby can breastfeed or bottle feed. And then within an hour, the baby is in a deeper state of ketosis than an adult would be after fasting for a full day. If there's any natural state, kind of back to our conversation a moment ago, it is clearly that a natural state is a state of ketosis.
What's important for us to know is that when we use fat for fuel, it's efficient and it produces the least amount of damage, so internal problems, to the body as possible. Whereas sugar, we only need it in small amounts for very specific purposes. But if there's too much sugar in our body, even though we use it for energy, it creates large amounts of damage. Now, I'm going to give you this analogy. It's kind of like how a good pair of jeans or pair of pants has buttons and zippers. And we could decide that zippers, we don't want them. We're only going to have buttons. But that increases the difficulty that you're going to have when you try to go to the bathroom. So this would be very, very problematic on a child's pair of pants, for example. We could have buttons all over this pants. We could just keep adding buttons and adding buttons. But at some point, if we add too many buttons, the pants themselves will actually become uncomfortable. If you sit on those pants, if the buttons are in the back, it's going to stab into your legs, and it's not going to be a good scenario. The right amount of buttons, the right amount of zips equals a nice, well-functioning pair of pants. When it comes to carbs and fats, prioritizing sugar, so buttons, leads to weight gain, Wellness Warrior. And it does this in two ways that I want to talk about. I'm only going to talk about these two ways because these are the ones that impacted me and that I understand the best. I know that there's other ways that too much sugar, so carbohydrates, impacts our health in a bad way. The first one I want to talk about, sugar causes inflammation. Inflamed bodies have extra fluid in them. So you know how when you have a 2-liter empty plastic bottle, it's light, but you put 2 liters of water in it and now it's heavy? When we have inflammation, we are walking around with extra fluids in us that cause us to weigh more. The second problem with sugar is that they're a toxin, which, is linked to the first problem I just said, right? That inflammation is being caused because it's a toxin. So even though my body makes it and I do need it in excessive amounts, it becomes toxic. And the natural reaction of my body when something is toxic at toxic levels in my body is that it will try to neutralize it. The way that our body neutralizes sugar is by raising the amount of insulin in our body, and then our body just takes that sugar and puts it in fat storage. Meaning, the more sugar you eat, the more you gain weight. Keto is a very different kind of diet. It helps us to lose weight because it helps us to look at food differently. It's because of keto that I know that eating more sugar raises my insulin, right? Because a keto diet focuses our attention back on what food does. Calories are not a focus on a keto diet because our body doesn't understand calories.
It all depends on hormones because our whole body runs on hormones. Our body has no calorie receptors, right? There's no cell receptor that says, oh, here's a calorie. This is what I'm going to do. Our body runs on hormones. Those are instructions as to what to do, how much to pump blood, how much body heat to generate. Everything in our body is run on hormones, not calories.
To help your body to regulate its weight, you need to know what to feed it. And the only way to really know how to feed it is to know what my body actually understands. My body understands protein, fat, and carbohydrates. Those are the three macronutrients. Protein is needed to build and repair our bodies. So when we give it protein, that's what it does. We're animals, and therefore our body needs animal protein to do that properly. If we give our body plant protein, it will still try to build and repair us, but it will struggle because it won't have all of the animal proteins that it needs. So it won't have all the amino acids, and we will need to supplement. Fat is an energy source and a building block. What that means is that our body uses fat for energy, but it also uses fat to build and repair us. You'll notice that I didn't say protein was an energy source because it's not. Our body does not prioritize using protein as an energy source, but it can in an emergency. And then we have carbohydrates, which are primarily an energy source, although they do have some other functions in the body. Now, when we shift our mindset to keep carbs as low as possible, what we're actually doing is acknowledging that in my body, when it asks me for food, what it wants is meat, fish, poultry, and eggs. So when I'm hungry, that's what that signal is telling me to go get. Most packaged foods with multiple ingredients have a high carbohydrate count. But we have to keep in mind that there are some staple foods, one ingredient foods that we eat, like rice, like fruit, potatoes, milk. These all have high carbohydrate counts. All foods that drive up our blood sugar will result in insulin putting that sugar and anything else we ate alongside that food into fat storage. It's part of the reason that most people on a keto diet do not eat rice, potatoes, pasta, bread. All these high carbohydrate foods get left behind, that's how I'm going to say it, on a keto diet because they do not help you to stay within your numbers. What happens when we eat them is that within a few hours, we feel hungry again. That's not helping us to achieve weight loss or to solve inflammation problems that we're trying to solve. By choosing to eat low carbohydrate vegetables, so those are the ones that when you eat them, you can have a satisfying amount, but they're still under the carb count, so they allow you to be under 20 grams for your entire day. Those vegetables allow you to be able to make it from one meal to the next without being hungry. This eliminates snacking, Wellness Warrior, which is another source of weight gain, right? When we eat between meals, we tend to be eating, first and foremost, carby things. But second of all, we do that because we didn't eat enough of the right things at the meal. To figure out which foods are low in carbohydrate, I use the food calculator. I'm going to link to a video that I have down below that shows you how to use the food calculator. Please do not be fooled by the clever marketing that they have, Wellness Warrior. No sugar added is not the same as no sugar. All carbohydrates are sugar. So when you want to know how much carb is in a food, if you check sugar and it says 0, it doesn't mean that there's no sugar in the food. It just means they haven't added extra sugar. You need to check the carb count to know how much sugar, so how much carb, they're two words for the same thing, is in the food. I want to make sure that I point out that this is an absolute trick because table sugar is made from fruits, from vegetables, basically from plants. When you make your plate, I'm encouraging you to make a satisfying meal. You could choose to have 7 French fries on your plate at lunch, but that would eat up all your carbohydrates for the day versus having a huge salad at lunch and then a good amount of vegetables at supper and having your meals feel satiating and feel right to you. When it comes to protein, it's important to eat the right amount of protein. I find that sometimes they'll say that keto is a moderate protein diet. It isn't. It's about the right amount. For every person, whether you're doing keto or any other kind of diet, the amount of protein that you should have been eating should have been the right amount to build and repair your body. Now, this amount is actually based on your ideal weight. So ladies, to do keto, you actually need to have an idea of what your correct weight should be. It's not the lowest wish for it weight that you ever wanted to have. It's the weight that if you are at your doctor falls within that range that they talk about. So I want you to go and verify for your height what is the correct weight that you should have. And then you eat the amount of protein that matches that weight. According to Dr. Lehman, if you're sedentary, then you would need to have 1 gram of protein for every pound of lean body mass you have. If you're active, you would need 1.5 to 2 grams of protein for every pound of lean body mass. And then if you're male, that number goes up. I think it starts at 1.5 if you're sedentary, and it goes to 2 to 2.5 if you are active. This is important, Wellness Warrior. Your body can only repair you if it has the building blocks that it needs to do that. And again, I want to just focus you on the fact that this is animal protein that we're talking about. When it comes to fat, the consensus is that you should be eating the fat that comes along with whatever protein source you chose. That means that the expectation is that you're not choosing lean meats. On a keto diet, since we tend to eat to satiation, I rarely tell people to track their fat intake. Every cell of our body is made of fat, Wellness Warrior. So we kind of need it. But this is one of those occasions where you need to decide if you're going to track fat or not based on how you're doing. I don't think that you should start off tracking fat just because I think if you follow your body and stop eating when you feel satiated, likely things will fall into place. And I'm saying this because I've noticed that it's hard for us to let go of that idea that fat's the devil. And a lot of us will end up under eating our fat. And when we track it and we're watching that number and we have that mentality, we're going to try to be under it. What you need to be under is your carbohydrate number. If you can get that down to 0, that's amazing. Fat and protein are necessary to be eaten. One of the most important things that I learned doing keto is that you lose weight and you heal because excess sugar is removed from your diet. It seems almost too simple to be true, but by removing inflammatory carbs, so sugar, from your diet, your body heals. So when I'm making my plate, I'm making a meal to help my body do what it wants to do. Heal me. When your body asks you for food, Wellness Warrior, it's not asking you for fun. It's not asking you for entertainment. Your body is asking you for fuel and building blocks. So when you get hungry, give your body a meal. To build that meal, start with protein. So let me just give you the example. If you eat 3 meals a day and your healthy goal weight is 150 pounds, that would mean that your lean body mass, if you're a woman, would be something like 110, accounting for like 25% body fat. That would be aiming at 37 grams of protein per meal, and that translates to 138 grams of meat per meal. Now, the fat would ideally come from the meat that you've chosen and the fact that you didn't choose lean meat. The tricky part of this meal is add the lowest carb vegetable count that you like to eat. That's the tricky part. What vegetables do you like and how do you choose the ones that are low in carb? So you're going to need to invest in pulling out that calculator and putting those vegetables in the calculator to see how much carb would be in, for example, 100 grams of whatever vegetable you put in, 75 grams of that vegetable, 200 grams of that vegetable. How much vegetable can you put in and that grams of carbs stay under? So if you're doing 3 meals, I need 20 divided by 3, which is like 6.5, 6 1/3 grams of carbs per meal. Or if I'm doing 2 meals, 10 grams of carb per meal. How do I choose the vegetables? By the ones that come in at the lowest number that allow me to eat a satisfying amount. When you do this, Wellness Warrior, now you can go anywhere in the world and eat on plan because you're not stuck to a food list that's based on Canada, but now you're in Mexico, or based on Mexico and now you're in China. being willing to pull out your food calculator and honestly input what's on your plate helps you, because you can manage your keto diet no matter where you are around the world. This is how I'm able to go on vacation and remain keto and therefore maintain my weight loss and good health, Wellness Warrior. And you could do the same thing. But we need to keep in mind that no matter what we are eating, if we overeat, we will gain weight. You can gain weight on healthy foods. That means you can actually overeat protein and fat. So if you're a volume eater, it's even more important for you to track what you're eating so that if you're not losing weight the way that you theoretically should be, you can actually go back and look at what's going on and see why weight loss isn't going according to plan. So many people complain about keto being restrictive. And I can tell you that not being able to walk was restrictive. Keto has given me my life back, Wellness Warrior. That's because I'm not stuck eating foods that I don't like. I eat delicious, healthy meals by making healthy choices that not only support my body, but also support my taste buds. I like what I eat. It doesn't take long for our mouths to love healthy food when our body benefits from it. Because why? Because our brains are wired to reward us for doing things that benefit the body. Our taste buds change. Our energy rises, our focus resumes, and life feels good again. Your brain rewards you for that, Wellness Warrior. By deciding to eat healthy, you can build that healthy plate every single day. Simplicity and consistency beat perfection, Wellness Warrior. Your body deserves real food. If you eat meat, fish, poultry, and eggs, your body will give you amazing health. A healthy body regulates its weight. This video is going to help you to manage your cravings and show you how to use that food calculator. It's linked below. Click on the link. Let's go.